the glory,
but e-buggy pays the bills. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast. Get ready for some serious bench racing. But be warned, we speak our minds, express our thoughts, and sometimes things can get a little rowdy.
Hate, and he just was influenced by the hate coming from the left, the hate coming from the right.
And let's get back to more club racing and less of this grabbing racing.
It's hard not to be arrogant when you're always right. You know?
See what I mean? That's exactly why people call you arrogant, Max.
You may not agree with everything we say, but it's definitely worth a listen.
And our pick, can you stop whatever you're doing?
Join your host, Lefty the Great, with co-hosts and guests as they get together to chat RC.
Hey, after that race that I watched this morning, I have to talk about it.
Here we go. $100 right here, $100 throw. Oh no!
I like this.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Nitro is the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. But on this podcast, 10th skill builds the skills. This is episode number 260, and I'm your host, Keenan White, a.k.a. Lefty the Great. And this podcast is all about the 2023 Masters of Art with my buddy, Lucas Lauren. Before I do get on to talk about that a little bit more, I'd like to say thank you to everybody out there who has supported the podcast this last year. You've made this travel possible. I greatly appreciate that. So shout out to all of the NNRC squad around the world. Thank you guys for all your support. If you wish to support the podcast a little bit further, you can. We have an NNRC Patreon as well as a YouTube membership. And I thank all of those guys, people that do support me there. I appreciate that as well. You can find links for that in the written description of this podcast. Nothing exists without sponsors and advertising. So I want to also say thank you to all these companies that support the podcast for 2023. If you're a company that's looking to likes this platform and wants to use it as a platform to promote your brand in 2024, please contact me. We have tiers for limited tiers, actually, for many different companies. But I want to say thank you to all of these companies: Invisible Speed, High Tech RC, Sun Pedal USA, Sidewinder Fuel, Hot Race Tires, Mayako, Beach RC, Techno RC, Clinic RC, Ignite Design RC, Stacked RC, Donathan's RC, RaceCraft USA. Shout out to the Florida RC Championships. Danny Pass at WRCE, my boy Gene at SJ Racing. Shout out to House of RC, RCGP. Shout out to our drivers, David Ronfeld, Jared Tebow, Robert Battier, Alexander Hagberg, and the spleenless one, the Matty G. Shout out to RC Body Armor too, man. And my boys out there at RC, offer at rcracer.com for sending this cool thing to me. Thank you guys. If you wish to support the podcast, if you want, there are written in the written description of this podcast, there are links. Some have coupon codes. I know there's like a coupon code for the Ignite Design RC, 10% off, as well as Donovan RC, you get 10% off. There's affiliate links. Go on there, help us out. It definitely helps us out. We greatly appreciate those companies. Everything can be found in the written description of this podcast. If you're listening to it on audio only or YouTube, it's all in the written description. Just go there, click on the links, get what you need to do. And it helps us out a lot. We greatly appreciate it. So, like I said, I was fortunate enough to go to the Masters of Dart. This is my second time going to the race. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a great race. We had racers like Ty Tessman, Mayfield, Brock Champlin was there. Who's never been there before. Cole Tallard. Of course, we had Dakota Fan, Rivkin, all the other top pros. We had all the top guys in stock there as well, minus a few. So it was good to see all of that racing. The track was gnarly. I had the track builder, Lucas Lauren, on her. We discussed the race and what his thoughts on it and everything and what I thought. I had a blast. I got to room with, it was me, Danny, Gene, and Hunter King. So we was kind of all staying in the Airbnb together. You guys heard me breathing. I'm still kind of sick from last week. I completely lost my voice and everything last week after I got home, and my asthma's been really bad. So I do apologize for that. But I got to hang out with those guys. It was fun. Thank you to everybody that made it possible. Thank you to Brent for making it possible as well. And thank you to everybody that came up and showed me some love. I greatly appreciate it. It means a lot to me. And when we do these broadcasts and stuff like that, these productions, it means a lot when you come up and say how much you enjoyed the last one. And that's all to like guys like Danny Pass. He's the man behind the behind the scenes doing all the work and making everything look good. I just come there to talk. That's what I do. And I guess we're just gonna go get right into it. This is a short podcast this week. I am probably gonna do a live show this Wednesday with Clayton, and then I have another podcast, maybe either dropping Friday or the following week. I am scheduled to go to AMS next week, so that should be good. I will see everybody at AMS. If not, I will see you at the next race that I attend. But yeah, I am scheduled to go AMS next week, which is the Alabama Manufacturers Shootout, which should be a good race. We have a lot of the European guys coming. I know Canas is coming, Barufalo, Robert Battier, JQ's coming, Pecco is coming, Nicola from Hot Race is coming. And then that's going to be good. I look forward to that. I went to AMS way back in 2018, actually raced at it, and I had a blast. This is the first time I've been to it since it's been on the moved to this date, as well as being a capped race and whatnot. So I look forward to that. And I thank everybody for making that possible as well. Of course, Florida Carpet Championships is coming up too. I should be there, and that is going to be stacked. Lots of foreigners coming over there. Lots of international drivers. I'm looking forward to seeing Dave Ronefalk and Bruno Coelho race on carpet. So I'm very excited about that. But with that said, let's get this going. Let's talk to Lucas. And I hope you guys enjoy this podcast. Don't forget to hit that sub, like, notification button. If you're listening to this on an audio-only platform, leave a review. It helps us out a lot. That said, let's go to Lucas Lauren and let's talk about the 2023 Masters of Dirt. Joining me in the virtual studio this week is a man you guys have gotten to know over the years. He's been on here quite a few times. I enjoy having him on here, especially to do recaps on races that we've both been to or he's been to. So welcome back, Lucas Lauren, a.k.a. Captain Ahab. New nickname for you now.
Hit me.
So I told you I had a perfect analogy for you. The way you was looking at your track at Masters of Dirt. You look like John Kreese from Karate Kid when he told whatchamacallit to sweep the leg and he did it. And he was just like, so you're like Cobra Kai, John Kreese, 1984.
Heck yeah. I'll take it.
That's what you look like.
So what is that nickname? John
I don't
Kreese?
know. We're going to call you Cobra Kai.
Finish him.
Sweep the leg, Johnny. Sweep the leg. Or whatever. Who was it? I can't remember who was it.
Johnny.
You look like you swept the leg. You definitely swept the leg with your track. That's why we're talking about it. But thank you, Lucas, for coming on. It was good to see you last week. I know we were supposed to record this last week, but I was sick, so I had to postpone it. So thank you for your time today. And I know it's your time off, so I appreciate it. So how you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm pretty much recovered from October, so we're taking just a little break before we start preparing for fall brawl. And
exactly.
The holiday season.
Yeah, because you not only you had to build two tracks, right? You had the oval track that you had to build, and that was the Dixie Nationals, which it was the week before prior. How involved were you in that? Did you do a lot of work on that?
We just run the shop. Fortunately for the Dixie Nationals, we have a guy that comes in, Austin Alford. He's also the guy that mostly supplies us with our big machinery.
Okay.
So he comes in and rips down our old off-road track, moves all the dirt himself, and builds a dirt oval. Basically, we don't touch a thing on that track. So it's pretty cool. He's a one-man wrecking crew, and he's probably one of the better dirt oval track builders, I'd say, in the country. So he does it all. We just run the shop, just make sure the dirt oval guys are having a good event, just like we would have with Masters. So yeah, he makes it easy on us. Once that's done, we got to move all the dirt. He moved and build the Masters track. So he moved every inch of dirt to build his dirt oval track this year. The whole entire oval was banked. The straightaways, the curves, everything was banked. So he used every bit of dirt. So we had to move all that. And we had a lot of dirt we moved. And come towards the end, we had a big giant pile of dirt that we didn't know what to do with. So we built that big hill under the driver's stand because there's just nothing else we could really do with it.
Yeah, just make Mount Myrtle, we called it. On
Mount Myrtle, highest elevation point in Myrtle Beach.
Pretty much, because it's pretty flat there. All right, for those of you guys that are just tuning into this podcast, we attended the ninth annual Masters of Dirt held at Beach RC, brought to you by Exalt. This is my second time attending this event. I went last year, and it like I fell in love with 10 scale racing and stock racing and pink pinions and all that type of stuff. So I was fortunate enough to go again this year and be a part of the commentary team, production team with Danny Paz, who did great work. So thank you to Brent for having me come out there, and Danny Paz for taking me out there as well. Scotty Ernst is the RD. Brent is the mastermind behind this, and you are the guy who builds your track. And dude, when I got there, because I couldn't see it on the ride drive up, like the track. So when I got there, I was like, oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Like a little 8 scale supercross track. Condensed.
Yep. Yeah. It was a special track. We meant for it to be a supercross like track with options and things that could separate mod from stock.
Yes.
So we did it. Maybe we didn't know it was going to be as technical as it was, but I pretty much figured it was technical. But I made sure when we were building that thing that I busted out my 10th scale 4-wheel drive, slick tires, about 2 years old, half charged battery pack. And before we moved on to any next section, I would test everything. And my car with no traction would make it. So we moved on to the next section, and everything was makeable. It was not an easy track, but to me, it was fun. It was fulfilling when you hit the thing perfectly, and I liked how it turned out personally.
Yeah, when I first saw it, the first thing that came to my mind is so for those of you that are listening to this on audio, we're actually playing a video of the A final from Mod 8 4-wheel drive A final of the track. So if you want to go check this out, you probably go watch this on YouTube or go check out the Masters of Dirt coverage that we done. So as soon as I saw this track, I was like, oh, I know people are going to be not happy about this because we haven't seen this. I mean, just the step up alone was like epic, right? Step up, double, triple almost thing. Look at that guy. That was excellent. Excellent avoidance. We haven't seen these big type of jumps in 10 scale for some time indoors anyway. Not that we race much outdoor 10 scale anymore. So I knew this was going to throw a lot of drivers for a loop. And I knew exactly with that 5-pack that the stock class was going to be separated. We always talk about that, right? Having something that separates stock class from mod. So you was able to do that on this track. And this track, I know as soon as people saw it, they were freaking out. Did you have any doubts when people came in and they were kind of like, oh,
not at all. I mean, from when you walked in, the track looked beautiful. So whether it looked like it was going to be extreme or not, didn't really matter. It looked beautiful before the cars touched it. And then when the cars got on, I thought I was pretty much happy with it. I was taking registration for the first few hours. I didn't really start hearing any negative comments until about midway through Thursday. And then Brent approached me and started letting me know that, hey, some people are complaining. And what can we do to, make this track better or easier or something? Is there anything we can do? And I was like, there's nothing we can do. The track's done. If you go to feel the clay, it's as hard as concrete. Without bringing in machinery and tilling a section, there's nothing we could do. I could go tamp on anything till I was bleeding in the hands. It wouldn't have made a bit of difference. The track was what it was. And I essentially told Brent, I was like, there's nothing we can do. The only thing we can do to make it easier is flatten it. And I was like, if you want to do that, call Austin and have him bring a tiller, flatten this thing out and give him a straightaway. But it wasn't happening, right?
No,
we weren't tearing down anything. So, Brent, he really wants to make everybody happy, especially at like Masters of Dirt. This is his baby. He grew this from nothing. And now it's one of the biggest 10 scale races in the country. So he is not real thrilled when, people aren't happy. So, as we're talking about it, I'm like, I was like, people just need to spend more time on this track, figure it out, approach it the right way. Like if you don't have something, don't send it. If you have to roll something, roll it. just you got to approach it like you would any other track, whether a track's easy or it's hard, it's all in the approach and, the commitment. You got to know what you're going to do before you do it. I'm going for a double, triple. I'm going for a single, double, double, whatever it is, it's all in the approach and how you commit to it. I wasn't telling people, Brent, that I was like, hey, they need to drive better. I was more saying, hey, they just need to figure it out and approach it the right way. Not really talking about the pros, but just anyone who was complaining. I don't think they gave it enough time to make a big decision, that this track sucks or I hate it or I'm never coming back here again. Give it some time, So essentially, I was going to race this week or that weekend. But as soon as the weekend rolled around, I'm like, I'm not racing. I'm not doing anything. I'm tired. I'm just going to hang out and try to manage the situation. Well, came down to, I'm like, look, Brent, I'll take my car out there right now and I'll go run laps and I'm going to make everything. And I'm going to show you that it's not the track. It's just people need to figure it out. And I haven't raced in over a year and a half. At best, I'm a sportsman level driver. No one ever said that, hey, that Lucas, he's got a lot of driving skills, right? I don't. So I go get my half-charged battery car, and I go out there. I start hitting everything. I'm hitting the double, triple rhythm section. I'm stepping up, doubling down in the big step-up area. I go around it. Sure, I made a couple mistakes, but essentially, I went and hit every section pretty easily. So I was like, look, there you go, man. It's not the track. People need to get used to it, figure out what lines need to take, and, do what's necessary to get around it with as few mistakes as possible. The one thing is, everybody was making mistakes. This is not a track that you were going to master. You can try to master it, but even the best, the master of dirt this year, Dakota Fend, he had several mistakes on every time he drove. Now, were they big or small? It didn't matter. Nobody was perfect out there.
No, not at all. I heard some rumblings too, and I remember, obviously, Brent wants this to be, this is baby. This is the biggest one we've had, right? Had all the top pros. We had Ryan Mayfield and all these guys. I was shocked. So I know it was extra pressure on him, and I said, he came up to me and said, "Well, what do you think that?" I said, "Hey." I said, last time I checked that these guys are here to race RC cars and this is off-road and it has jumps. I said, people have forgotten that cars jump and these cars are meant to jump because we're so used to having these, tracks have gotten, these 10-scale tracks have gotten very tame here. No, this was a little bit extreme. But from what I saw was multiple lines through all these sections. There's 3 difficult sections. You had the 5-pack, you could single, some guys like in short course with single, double. You had the double, triple option. You had I think you had I've even saw some guys do double, like various different lines you can make. But if you try to send it every time, you're not going to, and send it in traffic, you're going to make mistakes. And then going up over the tabletop, the step up, it was like you can jump up just how it's supposed to be, like jump up, just pop up over it and double down. Some guys were tripling, single. Some guys tried to send it, you know what I mean, and do the whole 4. And then coming across with the tabletop and to come over the mountain, I saw Bornhorst. He was like double, like sending that big time. I didn't see that too much in the racing, but there were multiple lines. And okay, there was no straightaway. There was a hill that was up and down. That was fairly simple. It wasn't. Also, it was rough too. You can't really tell, but it was bumpy, like coming on that hill. And I'm like, hold on, these guys are here to race. I look back at like the 2007 Worlds. This is 2007. I want to whatever Worlds, 2013 Worlds at Chico, the Worlds they had in Finland. These guys had triple jumps and stuff like that, where these 10-scale cars were jumping like way like the size of that damn quad, that 5-pack. They were jumping that whole thing. Mm-hmm. So I think, just as these 10-scale races have gotten smaller and indoor and the jumps have become smaller and these stock cars have become so fast and they're so used to almost throwing the same times as these mod guys on these tracks, you successfully made a track where it kind of separated the men from the boys, or or the women from the girls, if you want to say it that way.
Yeah.
And it definitely separated the stock and the mod guys. And I heard a lot of guys talking about consistency. Well, Mike, this is hard to track to be. Okay, you can't be consistent, but nobody's being consistent. Like, you gotta go out there and fight and win. Like, you know what I mean? Like, who cares if your consistency is not as good as you want it to be?
Yeah. Yeah. Like when the pros have 92% consistency and place in the top 2 or 3, not common, it's just, pros got 98, 99% consistency. They figure a track out within a couple tanks of fuel or a couple battery packs. They got it dialed. It's just like, how perfect can they make it, right? So this track, you could have it pretty close to dialed, man, but at some point in time, you're gonna get bit. Something's gonna bite you. You're gonna take something just a little bit wrong. You might even just get caught in traffic, or a marshal, or there's so many variables out there. It was different for the Joes and the pros because these people just aren't used to a track challenging them as much as this particular one did. They just even a regular Joe that came here and is maybe his first big tent scale race, it's probably mind-boggling, especially like some of maybe a 21.5 guys first time out here or whatever. It's just like, it's mind-blowing. For the pros, it's very challenging for them. I don't like to wreck usually, but when I do and I'm doing good, it hurts. I'm like, dang it, man, I could have done so much better, but I went and lost 8 seconds on my run because I wrecked here, I wrecked there. Well, when pros wreck, especially after they feel like they have a track dialed, it probably hurts them like 5 times as much as it hurts me because how competitive they are. And, they're professionals. They take this thing in a whole different way than a regular Joe like myself. So I can understand their pain when they're, wrecking after, being on a track 5-6 times, or I see where they're coming from. At the same time, they are professionals. It's an off-road track. The reason we even race these cars really on tracks with jumps is because they're inspired by motocross or supercross. Real cars that, like buggies, if these cars are supposed to be based off some sort of a buggy or something, buggies really don't race on tracks with a bunch of supercross jumps. So obviously it's inspired by more motocross, dirt bikes, stuff like that. Supercross tracks, typically it's off-road, it's jumps, you got doubles, triples, tabletops, everything a motocross or a supercross track would have. So that being said, there's nothing wrong with having just a really gnarly supercross track. If you watch supercross at all, at the first beginning of the year, there's a couple of kind of tame tracks. They're not too bad at Anaheim, but as they progress through the year, the tracks get more and more difficult. Sometimes during the year, one track will just be kicking everyone's butt, and the pros, obviously they're all pros that are racing supercross, but they're like, man, that track was rough today, and just whatever, the ruts were bad or it kept falling apart. Sometimes they have easy tracks, but it's just the whole point of off-road is nothing's perfect. Things will change. Dirt is different. And if we wanted a perfect track with, no jumps, we'd run on-road.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think by the second day, people kind of just fell into a groove.
Yeah.
I remember Brent, even he wasn't too worried about it as well. And I think the complaints stopped. I mean, I called it the 12th man. They call it that the 12th player on the field. I think in soccer they call it that, and that's usually the crowd or whatever. Right. Well, the track was the 12th man, and I think it made for exciting viewership to watch. I thought that it made for exciting racing. Like I saw some passes and stuff, and just stuff in qualifying. I was just like, whoa, that was so good. Like, he could have really squidded it up. But he was smart, and he did this and he did that. Mason Templeman was one of them. I want to talk about him in stock. And I was just like, good. I'm tired of seeing these small, tame tracks where guys like, oh, look, he jumped like 2 feet off the air. He got so much, it's so big. I'm like, no. Like, you were jumping up 6 feet, and that, I loved it. I thought it was great. I like when things like that throw people for a loop. and people are challenged, right? At the end of the day, I understand that maybe some of the jurors, it might have been a big challenge for them, but that's also why they come to these races, right?
Yep.
To be challenged. And
it
tracks like this is going to make you better.
Yeah, it makes them better. They're going home to their local track, better racers. They're walking away from that event, like it or hate it. Everyone's going to be better.
And they'll go back and they say, remember that track from 2023 Masters of Dirt?
Yeah.
Thing was gnarly. So I thought it was good. And also this race is very different from other 10 scale races because we don't have 3 5-minute bump ups. We don't have 3 A finals. We have bump ups, all that stuff. So that all played into it was like an 8 scale race anyway, but for electric. So I think it worked out perfectly. Those who did well are happy with the track. As anywhere you go in life, those who did well are happy with the track. Those who didn't do well will always find excuses for why they didn't do well.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
not everyone had to like the track, anyways. I mean, no matter how you build it, we could have built it very flat and tame, and people don't like that either. So honestly, like I've been doing masters. I think it's probably my 6th or 7th masters that I've participated in building tracks and stuff. So we always every year I'm taking feedback from people, that's where I got. Oh, I wish you guys would have something with separate mod and stock. All right, let's see if we can try to do that this year. And then people want like to where a couple tracks ago, it was a really beautiful track, but it was very one line. The racing just wasn't great. We tried to like spice things up, and just once you got in the lead, you pretty much had to screw up to lose it, because it just, as good as it looked, it was a one-line track. So let's try not to do that this time, and it's just an accumulation of feedback, years, and what can we do next? Obviously, we're always trying to top ourselves as well. So we kind of put ourselves in a spot that's really hard to top last year. I mean, what are we going to do now? Well, let's just think of all the feedback we were given and let's see what we can do with it. And then also, Brent has certain restrictions on what he'll allow on a track. So through time, we've gotten him to allow us to get a little more extreme and just do our thing rather than have too many restrictions. He doesn't want this here. He wants more flat here or raceable. So this one basically he just let us go to town on it. Honestly, he didn't have anything. We were going to do a concrete section, and he was kind of like, didn't want to do it. And I wasn't sold on it. By the time we got to the concrete section, it was just going to be a 180 turn. You're only on concrete for a second or two. But by the time we got to it, we had too much dirt. I was like, well, we can't dig out a concrete section with this big pile of dirt we got. So we didn't do that. But for the most part, he just let us go loose. And, next year's track won't be like this one. It'll be totally different and probably won't be as technical, but I'm sure we're going to try to top ourselves one way or the other.
You swept the leg. You swept it. I enjoyed it. I think the people at home that were watching it enjoyed it. And like I said, it doesn't matter. It's about everybody had the same track. They had to race it, and that's it at the end of the day. Now, traction was a little bit different this year. I think traction was it? I heard people said like some of the traction went away, or what was it?
There's a couple things. First off, I'd say it's mostly probably my fault because when we were building it, we were in a real big hurry. We didn't water it as much as we probably should have. And then throughout the weekend, we just slacked on watering it. It was purposeful, but what we ended up doing was like sparing it. We were trying to get traction up. So we decided not to water so heavy. So whatever line was developing that we wouldn't wash it away. However, us doing that dried out the track so much, it wouldn't provide traction. It just kept breaking apart and drying out. So we're just now catching up the track to where it's not all chalky and dusty, but we really kind of let it just go to crap. And we're so stringent on our water schedule, and we just kind of didn't do it the way we normally did. And I think kind of bit in the butt for traction. That, and everyone was running slicks. Stock class was S3 compound. I don't think it was putting any rubber on the track, not as much, especially with the track being as dry as we let it get, and then run all the stock classes running S3 compound, and then the cars being in the air 40% of the time. They didn't have a whole lot of time to put rubber down, even if they could. I think it was just a combination of everything, but it starts with watering. I don't know. I don't know how I got talked out or how I talked myself out of watering it the way I knew I should have, but I did. I kind of screwed that one up for sure.
Yeah, I did notice a fine layer of dust this year compared to last year, like on everything. So I was like, oh, that's different. Yeah. But you learn from that. You can move on. And I think at the end of the day, we still got exciting racing in both classes. And yeah, I look forward to seeing what you come up with next year. Just make like straightaways, like straightaway 180, straightaway 180, straightaway 180
everywhere.
Yeah, people will be happy with that.
Yes.
All right, so let's move on to the event. All right, so coming into this event, I started seeing like, obviously I know the stock guys are going to be, I know stock class are going to be big because this is a big event for them. I knew that like I knew when it comes out to stock, it's about the racers and it's about the motors, right? So I knew Exalt, being as they were the main sponsor, they had that nationals a few months earlier where they thought they had won with Kyle Go, didn't win it. Doug Laveria ended up getting it. So I knew they were coming in here like to really go for the win. Obviously, everybody's going for the win. So in stock, it was like it was like a lot of pressure. I think it was a lot of pressure on Kyle Go, Doug Laveria, that kid, young kid Nate Sutherland for TLR. Jim was obviously running Mod now. Then you had, who else was there that was, AJ Marasco was there, but he was there more for...
He was just running two-wheel, I think.
Yeah, he was there more to help Kyle, I would say, at the end of the day. And then, we had, other up-and-comers like the young Talon Henley and the kid Nerlin Manchester and all these other different type of guys that were coming up. Kenny Setzer was there as well. Obviously his older brother running in Mod, Jake Stackwich. So we had all the top guys who usually run this stock program, except a few, like that. I noticed that probably will be at the carpet race. Maybe they just run more carpet than dirt. But I think like everybody was looking at Kyle Go, Laverdier, Sutherland. And I think one of the guys that really surprised me in this whole event was Hunter King.
Yeah.
He very much shocked me.
He's really good.
I figured
he'd do well. I honestly, I thought he made it. I thought he was going to do just a little bit better, to be perfectly honest with you. Like he did good. I just thought he was going to be a little more competitive for, that's what it was. I don't think he ran truck, did he?
No, he didn't. He didn't.
That's what it was.
So, but I think he was one of the guys that impressed me the most. And Mason, how could I forget the guy who won it? Mason Templeman. He was the one who impressed me the most because he just drove incredibly well. But obviously I think coming into this, it was between Doug, Kyle, Mason. And so they came in here and like, I think you could like feel the tension, like Exalt's pitting right next to TLR and Trinity. Kyle's running TLR. He's sitting with the Exalt guys. Associated's over here. I was like, ooh, this is what it must have felt like back in like the 90s in the peak of a 10 scale racing. And these companies were like going at each other. TLR versus AE. This motor company or this is motor company in the stock class. It was quite I could feel it. Like I can feel it in the air. I don't know if you know what I mean, but I felt I wouldn't say tension, but I felt the angst in the air between these teams. Exalt needing a good result. Firstly, they first time with their new motors and all this type of stuff. So it was a lot riding on stock this year.
What was Mason running? Was he Exalt? He wasn't Exalt.
No, I think he runs. I believe he runs R1.
Oh, really?
So, and then of course we had the Doug and Kyle Go from the Nationals. The Dirt Nationals, where they thought Kyle had won, but Doug had won. So that was coming into this. So it was a lot of tension there going in. Not tension, angst. I want to say angst. And I felt like Exalt really wanted to win this. Like they really wanted to win this. I don't think they needed to win this.
No.
but they wanted to win this. And I think actually, with them not winning it, Mason Templeman winning it was probably the best result they could have got.
Yeah, just because of what he's running,
Yeah, if it would have been like Doug who won this, they would have been like, or if it would have been or Nate Sutherland or somebody from TLR, and I don't know what Nate runs, but or if somebody from Trinity would have won this, like, right. Oh my gosh, it would have been like, I don't know, it would have been super high tense. But a lot of pressure on Kyle Go coming in there. He was one of the favorites. He is one of the he has won this before, and he did pretty good in. Let me see. Let me bring up in qualifying. So he did TQ. Two-wheel drive qualify 17.5. He had a 0 in round 1, a 0 in round 2, and then he's kind of, I guess he got a 13 in round 3, and then in 4. And Mason Templeman actually took. Kyle Go came 3rd. Mason Templeman took 4-wheel drive and with a 0, 4, and a 3. Jeff Stakowitz, who kind of silently, Jeff Stakowitz reminds me of Dale Earnhardt, like just jeans, hat. Grind it out. Don't take no shit from nobody. 4, 3, and a 0. Kyle Go. Hunter King. This is where Hunter King impressed me because I saw him race at Wicked Weekend, and he was good in electric and 10 scale, 8 scale, e-buggy and e-truggy, and all these guys. We was all staying in an Airbnb together. So and then like all the guys said, well, he's good in 10 scale. So I was like, all right, we'll see. And yeah, he TQ'd around a 4-wheel drive. He was fast. He's good. He definitely has some pace. I had to give him a speech. I was like, look, dude. He's like, oh, I want to go get some practice. I was like, look, this is like, I think they had practice Saturday before, whatever they were qualified. I was like, look, dude, that little 2 minutes of practice ain't going to change anything. I said, what you got to do is focus up here. See, I said, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go there. You're going to not get 2 minutes or enough practice what you're going to say. And then you're going to go say, why didn't you get enough practice? Then you're going to screw yourself in your head. I said, forget about practice. Let's go get breakfast. Let's take our time. Let's get there. Calm down. Go wrench in your cars and get ready. What does he do? He goes out there, TQ's 4-wheel drive. See? Listen to Lefty. Boom. That's what I told him. See? But yes, very hot stock action here. And it was awesome, man. I think out of all these guys that impressed me the most was Mason. I watched him last year. I think he was on a different motor program last year. He was a little bit underpowered, I felt. But he was very good, right? But I watched him this year, and how he drove was what won him this race. Like I'll tell you one thing: in 4-wheel drive, they were going through that 5-pack. He was like in lap traffic. He was, just, and it was like a gaggle of cars in there. And he was just like, he just switched it up. He just kind of, I think he went single, double, stopped on the tabletop, let everybody, and just singled out of there. Like, and I was like, that's smart racing. He could have tried to go for the double, tried to do this, and he could have wrecked. And that would have cost him much more time. While everybody else was wrecking, he just went and went by. And that's what, in the end, helped him win the Masters of Stock, in my opinion.
Yeah, he was one of the few guys that I noticed were really not flawless, but darn near close. Between him and, I mean, no one was flawless. It's hard to say, but he was really close to it, and that's what put him on top. He just made the least amount of mistakes. The mistakes he made sure they didn't bite him too bad. So instead of sending something, or like I said, going through the 5-pack, he got through that thing. I remember watching his main, I think it was with 4-wheel drive, where he just threaded the needle through that thing. He did what was necessary. Instead of doing what he wanted to do, he did what he needed to do, and he made his mistakes just seem minimal.
That's a perfect way to put it. Instead of doing what he wanted to do, he did what he needed to do. And that's how he beat everybody. Like, everybody was just trying to just go balls out, and he was just like, nope. And that I gave him a lot of credit for that, and he was super pumped about that. And so for people who don't know how the Masters works, is basically you take your 3 out of 4. You can run 4 classes, but you take your 3 best classes, and they're all weighted. So 2-wheel drive is the highest. You get the highest amount of points for 2-wheel drive. You get the highest amount of points you get the second highest amount of points for 4-wheel drive. And then it's truck and then short course. But if you ran all 4, somehow if you could pick whichever, if you did good, you pick whichever one work, your best 3. I'm trying to make it more difficult than ever. Brent explained it to me, but I can't explain it right now. And Lucas is clicking away. He's looking for something. What happened, Lucas?
Nothing. Can you still hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you, buddy.
All right. I noticed that the sound was coming out of my computer,
Oh,
and I wanted to come out of my headphones. That was the whole issue I was having. That's perfect.
okay. All right.
Everything sounds good on my end.
Everything's fine on my side, buddy.
Perfect. Now we're all
So,
good.
so Mason, he actually won 4-wheel drive buggy. He won truck. So in truck it was Mason, Doug, Kyle Go, Nate Sutherland, Jeff Stackowitz. Oh wow, I didn't even realize Patrick Russell to finish 6th and Trent finished 7th. Well done to those guys. And then in 4-wheel drive 13.5, it was Doug who won that. Mason, it actually came down pretty close, I think. Kenny Setzer, Nate Sutherland, Toddy Anderson, was good to see those guys. Andrew Daniel, roommate of Kyle Go, was actually really good as well. Ooh, Kyle Go finished. Oh, he broke, right? Yeah. He only, I think Kyle Go, he didn't finish. He ended at 8 minutes and 38 seconds. I can't remember if he broke or whatnot in his 4-wheel drive main.
4-wheel.
Yeah. Unfortunate for Kyle Go. He was one of the favorites coming into this. So very unfortunate for him. But only one can win, you know. So
yep.
And then
That's
of
what
course
they race for.
And Mason, who won 2-wheel drive. Nate Sutherland was another one who had a very quiet, like he wasn't blazing fast out of the gates. And I think he had to bump up in 1 or 2 mains. Or I can't remember which one he had to bump up to, but in the end, he had very good finishes because he finished 2nd in 2-wheel drive, and that's a good finish. He started 5th. Let me see if I can find which one he started. Go ahead.
This was probably his best master so far. I think he's only been racing for 3 or 4 years. So every time he comes to master, I remember the first time he was there, he was just seemed like he was just getting his feet wet. And every year he's gotten faster and faster. Now he's up, competing with the guys in the A main.
Oh yeah, he actually bumped from I don't know how far, but he had to bump into the A main. He started 9th in 4-wheel drive. I finished 4th.
Yeah,
so that's good.
Yeah,
that's very good. So Doug didn't win it. Doug ended up. Mason ended up winning it. I think. Who won it last year? Was it Doug?
What overall?
Yeah.
Last year was
Schimmel. What am I talking about? Yeah, it was
Schimmel.
Sorry. So
Shady.
Mason brings it home for Associated and R1, I guess, and great drive by him, man. I thought so.
Okay.
Disappointed. Yeah, disappointment for Kyle. He'd be disappointed with his performance, and unfortunate for him. Great run for Nate, and let's see who else had good runs. Kenny Setzer, great weekend for him. Toddy Anderson, who kind of made the last minute decision to come down there. Will McIver hasn't raced 10 scale since like they have brush motors.
Yeah, it was the first time in forever.
Yeah, and he comes on and he makes the A main in 4-wheel drive. So that's crazy.
Well, just goes to show you that 10 scale and 8 scale definitely go hand in hand. If you're a good 8 scale driver, you can probably drive 10 scale.
Yeah.
And if you want to be a better 8 scale driver, I would recommend driving 10 scale to keep your skills sharp.
Yeah, I would agree there. All right. So congratulations to Mason Templeman. Great win for him. I for some reason I asked him in the interview, I said, dude, does racing on hot rod help you out? He also did a lot of 8 scale racing this year too. So I have a feeling maybe that helped him out a little bit with the jumps and all that type of stuff. In my opinion, because it was very 10 scale esque. I mean 8 scale esque, the track, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all you guys out there running 10 scale early, you know what you got to do. Go out and run some 8 scale as well. Help you out a little bit.
Absolutely.
Help you out. All right. Now let's go on to the big enchilada, which is mod, which was absolutely stacked. Like the biggest field we've seen. Stack field we've seen at a Masters, I would say.
Yep.
So we had, I was shocked when I saw Ty Tessman. I saw him with the post going to the race. I was like, oh, nobody told me he was coming. I messaged Brent right away and I was like, Brent, why didn't you tell me that he was coming? He was like, yeah, nobody, like, it was kind of like he said he was coming, but he finally did come. So I thought that was pretty cool. Ryan Mayfield was there.
Yep.
Brock,
he came last minute, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
He wasn't coming till like maybe a week or two before. maybe even a week, and
Really?
it ended up coming. Yeah, we knew everyone was coming, but we didn't really like announce, confirmed or anything, because we knew everyone was going to be there. But yeah, it was great to see that, all the top pros in the country race at our track. It's really cool. It's a big accomplishment, in my opinion. I remember when I met Brent when he opened his shop. So I was picking his brain. I didn't even have an RC car yet, but I wanted to get into it. And, he said he just wanted to grow this thing organically. And, if pros want to come, cool. If not, no big deal. He's just going to do his thing. And each year, we get like first year he had Hartson, which is a defending world champion.
2013 four-wheel drive world champion.
Yeah. And after that, maybe he had like one more pro driver, and then Dustin Evans started coming, and just kind of went every year. You get a couple more guys, and now it just seems like it's kind of one of those tent scale races you wanna go to. I think for the pros, whether there's contingency on the line or not. I think if pros are racing tent scale, this is definitely one of the races they want to attend, I think.
Yeah, and a treat for people that did attend as well. And all watched online, because it was something that I forgot CFT was there. I Cole Tollard was there, so that was crazy. Like every top pro in 10 scale racing was there. Every top pro that was at besides Cavallari.
Yep.
Who was at an 8 scale race. That was weird. I was shocked that he wasn't there. He was there last year.
He might not have the budget.
That's true too.
It might not be on the schedule for his contracts or whatever. And it's hard to ask pros to foot the bill to come race. They're professionals. I don't think pros should. Or no, I think pros should do whatever the heck they want, but they shouldn't be obligated to do any race that they don't have some sort of contingency or reason to be there, because this is what they do for a living. Most of us do this as a hobby. But when it comes to professionals, man, they need a reason to be there, or at least they want to be there,
I agree, but I would think that this race should be on the contingency list at least now.
Yeah, you'd think.
With the amount of pros that were there. Schimel had a decent show in as well. Bornhorst, I didn't realize Bornhorst made the podium too. That'd be good for him. He'd be happy with that.
Yeah, I thought Bornhorst did real good all weekend. I wouldn't consider him, a big tent scaler, but since he's been on S-Works, he seems to be putting in definitely more tent scale time. And let's see, he was here last Masters, and he was kind of like, I think, kind of C mainish. And then this year, he was twice as fast as I remember him being last year in 10 scale.
Yep. And then we got to see like guys like Brock Champlin come over and race. Chase Lemieux, who probably didn't have the best Masters, but definitely a fast up and coming X-ray driver. And then of course Dakota Fenn, he wins it. You know what? We almost forgot. We forgot about this man right here, Spencer Rifkin, who had the bump from almost the last main in 4-wheel drive. So anyway,
D main, I think, right?
Yeah. So Spencer in his first 2 qualifiers went out and broke both qualifiers.
Yep.
So he had one good. I think he had one good qualifier, which was the third one. So he had to start in the D main. That dude bumped all the way to the A main and won that stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. I've never seen a D main have the whole entire track covered with people watching. It's like the most important D main I've ever seen.
I know, it was crazy, dude. It was packed on the sides. I was like, oh, Spencer, because I didn't realize, like, why is everybody? Oh, then I looked at who was running. I was like, oh, Spencer's in this.
That's what I said. Packed. I'm like, why is there so many people watching these lower mains? I look up and there's Spencer. I'm like, oh, all right. So dude, watching him bump just basically all the way to the. I mean, it seemed like he just had no issue whatsoever with the D main, C main. B main looked like he was pretty much in the lead fairly quickly. And shoot, it didn't take him but a couple laps to be like up front in the A main.
Yeah, he was good. Let's see. Let's look at his A main. He was.
I think he went from like
On the
fourth within
yeah,
like a lap or two.
He went on the third lap, he was fourth.
Yeah.
By lap 7, he was first.
Yeah. Yeah. And all, he had, let's see, so 6 times 3, what is that? 12, 18. He had an extra almost 20 minutes of race time that day for four-wheel drive. So, I mean, he had that thing dialed. He knew exactly what to expect. Maybe that made a difference for that A-main race, that all the track time he had earlier just kind of put him a little bit above everybody else.
Yeah, I would say so. We see that at Nitro race. This is why I like bump ups, right? This is why I like this format. Yes, I like the 3A finals as well, but I like that the fact that your race isn't over because you're in the B main.
Right.
That's one of the things I don't like about electric racing.
I'm not a fan of double and triple A mains, so if I never had to see one of those again, I'd be fine with that.
I wonder if more tracks or more races will adapt this type of format. I mean, these cars obviously can go 10 minutes. It's not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
We had 10 minutes of great racing. I think it's good. I think that we can have bump ups so people can, it was 8 and 2. So 8 went through 2 bumped ups. So it was a traditional 10. As the Gunny would say, it was a traditional 10. It was a 100% A main. It wasn't 120 or 150% A main. So I don't know, man. I thought I think it just and it makes those mains worth way more, right? Than, you just won the B main. Hip hip hooray. You got a bump.
Right.
You got to go race in the big show. So I love that. I do. Yep. I really do.
I'll take a 10-minute main over a double A main for sure. I think it's I mean, not really at every 10th scale race, but just like the track being gnarly and a little extreme, running a 10-minute race sometimes is cool, but maybe not all the time. The traditional way, double A mains, triple A mains, that's fine. It's very traditional, so there's nothing wrong with it. But every now and then, it's cool to have different kind of formats. And I like the 10-minute main because if you look at these guys when they finish, it's like 30, 32 laps, 31 laps. And if you compare that to being scaled down 10th scale, that's like almost a 45-minute main. If you scaled it up or whatever, it's really long, it's grueling, it's a marathon, and to be perfect or darn near perfect and actually win above everybody else, you really, really earned it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying and also we could say that about the track. Not every track has to be this gnarly.
Absolutely. Yep.
But it's nice to throw a spanner in the gears every once in a while.
Yeah, just sometimes.
Yeah, just sometimes. I'm not saying every track has to be like this and everything has to be 10 minutes, but we got to figure out some way. I would love to see a way where we figure out how people bump up, because I love that format in Nitro, and I think we need to revisit it for 10 scale.
Yeah, it makes for good racing. It makes a C main and a B main more important when your top 2 or 3 can, fight for that spot to go to the show. Just adds a little more relevancy to lower mains.
I agree. And I think in the end, the points came down pretty close between Rivkin and Fend. And I think it was pretty close.
Yeah, I think Rivkin had to beat Fend by, I think, 3 or 4 positions in 4-wheel. So he really needed Fend to drive bad or have a big mistake. What did Fend finish?
He finished third,
right? Yeah. So
he
just wasn't enough. He missed it by a couple points, I believe.
So Fend goes back-to-back Masters champion. Congratulations to him. I know he was happy about that.
Yep.
So congratulations. Rivkin still.
No.
Won it. No.
Rivkin
won it last year. Sorry. Yeah, correct. So Rivkin almost went back-to-back.
But he has Fend is a 3-time master.
Yeah. So he's won them. Him and
Dustin
have won
Evans.
the most. Okay.
Yeah, they both have 3.
Sweet. That's awesome, man. I love that format, and I think it's good. And I think these guys really take some pride in that award as well. No.
Yeah. Well, it's really cool. Like when you look at the Masters banners with everyone's name on it, it's pretty cool because even from the very beginning, you got a world champion up there. The one name that kind of sticks out because they're all top pros is a local kid, Griffin Hanna, on the second Masters. He actually won it, and Brent said when he won it, he's like, "That's the last time a local will probably ever win this event."
Really?
Because he knew it was just going to get bigger and more people came in. But Griffin, he could have been a top pro if he wanted to. He just had a lot of opportunity to do whatever the heck he wanted in life. So RC just wasn't it.
That's how it goes when you have all these other cool things to do.
Yeah,
it doesn't happen like that. But let's talk about some of the other things too, because we had a lot of short course trucks there. We had about 3 heats of short course, which was great to see. Actually, Dave McLean, he TQ'd. I think he made Mr. McLean made every final that he raced in. He had a bump up on a 1. But this guy drove
5 classes, I believe.
Yes. Obviously Van Aert was really good. I enjoyed watching the short course trucks, man. I really enjoyed it.
Short course is fun. It's probably the most fun class out there. Because you can rub without really affecting each other too much. When buggies, when their tires touch, it just doesn't work out real well. But when short course are racing, man, they can really bump into each other, and it's not too much of a foul. It's kind of the fun of it. So yeah, short course is cool, man. I like
Cotto
it.
was having a good run, and he crashed. And Sherman, I call him short course specialist, Team Sherman. His son won. That was good. So, we're just going through some of the pictures. There's Fenn. He won 2. This is 2-wheel drive. Yep. There's Tessman. Aiden Horn. This is open 2-wheel drive. Kyle Paquette was fast all weekend. He drove well all weekend. So did this guy. I forget his name.
That's Rob Meyer Jr.
Rob Meyer. He was good too. Very good. Very good. Watched him. Here's stock 2-wheel drive. Yep. There's Hunter King. He made the podium. His little cheesing dog. These kids, they are kids, right? They're all young.
Yeah, they're all young.
They're like
Every one
21 and below.
Yep.
So Masters, I think this was 40 plus. Big Al won everything again this year.
Yeah, he's fast.
He is good. Mini Truggy. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
We had a bunch of mini Truggies out this weekend too.
It wasn't bad. Had about 12 or 13 of them, I think.
That was good. That's the most mini Truggies I've seen in a long
the
time.
winner there, that's a local guy, Nathan Grubbs.
Yep.
He has come a long ways. I was actually surprised he won. I was like, oh man, Nathan Grubbs won. And
because this guy was really fast.
Yeah. Nathan was kind of like mid-pack a lot of the weekend. He did make the A main, but he's just kind of hanging out. And the main he just got it done. He did what he needed to do. It's funny because last year he was the one that won the hooligan race. So it's just funny, like this kid just keeps surprising everybody just about every time he races. Yeah,
this guy Alex Porter like TQ'd all 3 rounds of this. He was fast too, but Nathan was able to win it.
Yep.
Mr. Washburn, I saw his name come up a lot. Graves was there. That's good to see, man. Good to see the mini truggies still having. I know they didn't make a nationals, but still, this guy is Dakota Fenn's fill-in. We had him. Danny made a mistake of Shelton Galante. I think he won 21-5, but he TQ'd all rounds, and he had him as top qualifier. Dakota Fenn, mod 2-wheel drive.
I think he lost 21-5 on the line because I think the other kid got the actual win.
Let's go to there.
So
Peyton Bacon. Yeah, absolutely right.
So they had a heck of a race, and then it came down literally the last corner. They both crossed the line at exactly the same time, where Shelton, he was kind of riding the pipe, crossing the line, and then Bacon was kind of almost riding the wall, and it was a photo finish, but the timer picked up Bacon crossing the line first, probably by 0.000001 seconds. It was a great way to start off the A mains because no matter what people said about the track, man, it made for some really good racing.
It did, man. I don't care what anybody says. It was fun. I was getting all excited. That was one of the funny races. There's Scotty. He's in Japan right now. There's the tech guy. There's Brent looking all clean shaven with no mustache.
Yeah.
Oh man, we're just going through some pictures. Good to see this gentleman out racing again. CFT. He was sick for a while. He's telling me what happened to him, but he said he's on the mend now. So that's good to see. And yeah, man, I just really enjoyed it, man. I think it was bigger this year too. Oh, the hooligan race. We ain't got to talk about that. Lee Setzer won like $1,600.
17.
Yeah. And my buddy Gene won $100 for landing his car in the wheelbarrow.
It was awesome. Hey, I put $20 in that wheelbarrow, so he won $120. Oh
yeah. So for those of you that don't know, they have a hooligan race where they put all these different obstacles on the track, boxes, cars. They had a wheelbarrow, rakes, all that type of stuff. And the last person standing is the winner. So you see guys putting like truck wheels on the 4-wheel drives and stuff like, so if they flip over, they can try to flip themselves back over. So Lee Setzer came down to the end. He won it. He drove smart. My buddy Gene, and you guys reversed the track. So
yeah,
right. So he had to. They flipped the coin to reverse the track. So he had to jump into a wheelbarrow, and he did it. He pulled it off, and he paid for his fuel money to get up to the race.
He definitely wasn't gonna win, but he was still alive in the race, you know.
Yep.
And about 30 seconds, minute left. He's like, "Well, I'm not winning. Might as well go for the wheelbarrow." As soon as he hit that thing, the crowd just blew up. Everyone went crazy.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, I'm just
hooligan's always the best race of the weekend. Yeah, just got to be there to really appreciate it. But it's fun. Whoever wins usually earns that one because to stay alive with all the obstacles and just people, and to be the last man standing, man, it's a big feat. It's hard to do. A lot of people crash in the first 20 seconds. I've done it once, and I didn't make it past 10 seconds or something, and just immediately went upside down. So very hard race to win, but a lot of fun to watch.
No, they didn't have a party this year like the normal Fireball 500 this year, I don't think.
Yeah. We did not party on Friday night. We kind of partied. I mean, we busted out alcohol and we let people just kind of hang out and stuff, but we didn't do anything special because we had a crap ton of entries and everything went super long. By the time we were done qualifying on Friday night, it was 11:15, 11:30. What we wanted, what's that?
People were probably like, I just want to go home. I'm tired.
I know I was tired for sure. But yeah, so we didn't do nothing crazy. We did have an idea to do something, but we just didn't do it. We didn't plan for it properly. So we didn't do it. We're going to do it twice as hard next Masters. So we're going to make up for it. I think next Masters is going to be a little different. More than likely, we were going to cap the race. I think the amount of entries we had this time was probably just a few too many, which we wanted as many entries as possible because we were always going for a higher number. And we broke the 400 mark. I think after that, it's probably time to cap it and just let everyone prepay. That way we can, have organized practice with like drivers, like vehicles. Just make everything just a little more enjoyable. I think one problem with Thursday and where a lot of complaints came from was that there were too many cars on the track at the same time and too many different levels of drivers, too many different kind of vehicles. It was just too chaotic, especially for the pros who want to go out there and try to fine tune their skills on the track. It was just really difficult because they're avoiding crashes all day long and stuff. I think once we started doing organized practice and qualifying, I think it got a little easier for everybody.
Absolutely. For those of those who are listening to this, we're watching the hooligan race, the start of this. As you can see, there's people sitting there, Ryder and Bo, rakes and all that stuff. Man. And then, of course, we also had lunch provided to us, which was very delicious. By the way, I just want to confirm this for Danny Paz. That was pork, not chicken. Because he said no, it's chicken. I said, no, Danny, that's pork. He doesn't eat pork, apparently, but he eats pepperoni.
Oh, that's too bad.
He ate that, though.
It was delicious. That pork, I thought they were going to serve us chicken bog. So I was expecting it to be chicken myself. And then when I bit into it, the pork, it was so delicious. I was like, wow, what is this?
It was good.
It was good.
So thank you to Brent. And I believe Hobby Wing provided that.
Yeah,
so
that
thank you to
Wing.
them. Oh man, it was a great event. I only went in the shop like once or twice to drool over everything there. And then I was like, all right, let me get back out there.
Yeah,
I had a
you're
blast,
so
man.
busy.
Yeah.
What do you think about doing these long events all, kind of by yourself?
No,
What do you
it's
think?
nice when you,
How you liking it?
it's time consuming. It's not time consuming. I enjoy it. I enjoy when somebody comes. We had a little chat. We needed to get a little chair for you to sit off a little longer. Brent came by and had a chat with me. I wish people would come have a chat with me. Patrick came on for some of the mains later on, which makes it enjoyable. I enjoy doing it with Patrick, but it's a lot of talking. My voice really does get strained. I remember Lance sending me a message saying, "Save your voice."
Yep.
But
Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard talking there and
Yep.
being witty, you know what I
Right.
mean? And trying to think of things to come up with. And then I started to lose my voice. And that's what I told you as well. When I was sick, I said, I have no voice, you know?
Yep.
So, I mean, I enjoy them. I want to get better at them, obviously, but it's also good to have somebody that you have a good, or various people that you can gel with to do it as well.
Yeah.
So, but I try my best. It's something I'm learning. This is my first 10 scale event. So it was a little different, but it was like an 8 scale event at the same time. It was long, very long, like an 8 scale event.
Yeah.
So
I watched a lot of the coverage. I've watched most of the A mains, some lower mains, and a little bit of qualifying. I thought the coverage was really good. I thought you did a good job. You're continuously talking, keeping people engaged, checking stuff online, answering people's comments and stuff like that. So, yeah, that's why I was wondering. It's 15 hours of just nonstop talking on a microphone. No one can really grasp how hard that is until you actually try to do it. And if you did try to do it, anyone else that's just normal that hasn't done it before, you probably wouldn't be able to talk at the end either.
Well, I think the big reward is when people come up and shake my hand at the next race and be like, "Oh man, I met him and watched my race. Thank you for mentioning this." Or my mom watched this, or my mother, or my father, my family were watching this, and you mentioned this person, and they, I because I'm monitoring like 3 screens. I'm monitoring the scoring, monitoring this, monitoring that, and then I'm trying to also find good races on the track as well for the guys to follow. So I think when people say that and they enjoy that part of it, and they come up, which a lot of people have, like when we was at RC Pro-Am, a lot of people came up to me and said, "Hey man, we really enjoyed your cup," because that was the first time I really done it with Danny from Wicked Weekend, and you engaged the audience, because that's what I'm doing it for. I'm not doing it for the people at the race. I'm doing it for the people that are watching.
Right.
And
people at the race can't even hear you or anything. They see you over there talking on a microphone. But
at some time I heard myself talking. I was like, people can hear me. Like it was quiet, and I'd be like, I'm in my own world. Yeah. Like I'm looking at that screen. I don't even know. That's like people's like, well, what's going on? I said, I don't know. I said, because I'm focused on these screens. Like I don't know what's going on behind me. There's people literally putting stuff next to me. I'm focused on that.
Yeah,
I enjoy it, but it's not easy.
No,
it's very like right here hurts after every night. Like I feel very tired, and I'm just like, oh. And I don't even guys. We and after every race, you kind of go home, and I have a debrief with guys, because they're out and about, so they know what's going on. So I always get information from them to use for the next day.
Yep.
So the guys I'm staying with, they're out and about. They see what's going on, and then I'm like, okay, so I know this is going on tomorrow, or whatever. The thing that I do miss about it is when I do get in those positions and starting to do that stuff, I'm not able to go out and mingle and be around people like I like to do. So that's why I try to do that on the practice days and stuff like that. And then people's like, well, let's go do this and let's go do that. I'm like, I just want to eat and go sleep.
Yeah.
So I do apologize if I don't come up and see people, or don't accept your invitation to go eat. It's because we're just trying to, it's a long day, we're there and we got to be there tomorrow. And I want to give everybody the same amount of coverage. That guy who's not in that lower main to the guy who's up in that A main, their families at home watching as well.
Yep.
They're going to go home and watch that race as well. and they if I can say one little thing about them that I know, or somebody in the chat lets me know, now that's fine.
Yeah.
How about you? What about you? How are you enjoying all this stuff? And we have Fallbro coming up, which is going to be under a roof for the first time.
Yep.
And
so I'm looking forward to that for sure. Honestly, when we finished building Master's Track, I was sitting there looking at it. I was thinking, yeah, I'm pretty much over it. What's next?
Dude, so when I got there, you went out there and packed it again like twice. I watched you walk that machine around there. I like how you got it, because we used to have a machine like that to do it, to do a packer. One of those, I guess they're called a packer, one of the things you push.
Yep.
We had a machine. We used to rent machines like that to pack our tracker, and you have like handles in there with cushion to hide and I watched how you do it, and I was like, wow, that thing really does compact this concrete. You did that like twice, and then you went out there with that damn Tampa, put your gloves on. Like, I was like, what is Lucas doing? Dude, you went out there and beat the crap out of this, like just. I was like, Lucas is out there like a man possessed.
Yeah,
out there just banging away on those things. So I know that, like, I saw that the amount of effort you put in there to make that track what it was, right? So I get it. I understand. And then when I just never forget, you're just sitting there one day, just looking there, and you had your cup on the, I think you had a beer. You're sitting there, and I can see the look in your eyes, just like, yeah, it's doing exactly what I wanted it to do. Sweep the leg.
I mean, it's cool because when I first started at Beach, we didn't design tracks at all. We just went out there and freeballed it. We're like, hey, let's put a double here and straightaway here and just finish tracks, And then I started designing them like on paper, and I measure it all out. So like if you go by the paper, it's a perfect map of where everything's supposed to be. Like, within a couple inches or whatever, it lines up the way it's supposed to be. So just building that thing, and when I'm visualizing it and drawing it on paper, I have intention. I want people to step up and preferably double down. But I know that if I build it right, you might be able to mod up and triple and single out or whatever, or the rhythm section. There's absolute intention behind every jump. I wanted it to do basically exactly what it did. So we pretty much followed the map, and it's cool to watch pros approach things that you build. I mean, we do this all the time. I'm in the industry to where I work, and this is my job. So when it comes to designing a track, it's really cool to watch how pros will traverse it, or if you can challenge them or give them what they want or whatever. I don't know if I really gave them what they wanted. But I believe it was a good challenge, and I think the track was fine. And if people, struggled on it, so did everybody else. But I think the track did what it was supposed to do. And it might be kind of vain, but I've always been a big admirer of my own work. If I do something and I think I did well, I usually step back and I look at it, and I'm real proud of myself about it. Whether it's, making a video or building a track or whatever it is. Even at my job, when I didn't work at Beach RC, I've had other jobs. Whatever I was doing for a living, I always took a lot of pride in it. And if I had to go organize a warehouse, by the time I was done, I'd look at that warehouse and be like, yeah, look at that. It's all organized and everyone can find everything. So, the track I thought looked beautiful, and it did what I wanted it to. And I was proud of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And now I look forward to seeing what you guys do at Lake Wakama. Yep. You have a little bit more. I know the first race track wasn't I didn't mind it because I'm watching it, right? But I know you guys wanted to stay a little bit not as rough.
Yep.
And I know that they're gonna have like just tilling the sand, like tilling the dirt that you brought in and all that type of stuff. So you know how the dirt's gonna react. And I know you guys are gonna be doing a lot more repairs at nighttime. So I told Brent, I said I think Fallbro is gonna be maybe not well attended on a pro side of things. You get your local pros and all that stuff. Yeah. But I think on a regional side, it's going to be well attended because it's going to be the last guaranteed race of the year.
Yeah, I think it's going to do real well. Me and Brian Burnett, we got some ideas on the track. We the first time was an experiment. So now we know exactly what we're dealing with. We know the dirt. We're not going to screw ourselves by bringing in any extra dirt this time. So we pretty much have ideas. We pretty much know how to treat the dirt a little better and kind of have an idea for like a layout. I think we're going to try to stick to something super crossy. May not be like super extreme or anything, but we're going to try to keep the supercross vibe to it. And hopefully we're not going to let it blow out so bad. If it does blow out super bad, I already told everybody I am fixing it at night and you'll come to a fresh track in the morning if it gets that bad. If that's what I have to do, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to let it blow out like the Pro-Am did. To me, it's just, that was beyond cool. I don't know. It looked cool on TV, but they got
some spots that were real bad.
Yeah.
Like when they couldn't go up that one jump.
Yeah. When Cole Ogden is sitting on a piece of dirt, just wibble wobbling back and forth and can't get off it in the middle of a track, that probably needed to be fixed. So we're not going to let it blow out this time, especially if it's going to be super crossy. We're really going to have to keep the track in good shape this time. So we got some good ideas, and I think it's going to work out real good. And like the Fall Brawl has never been a race that attracts top pros. It's never been on anyone's contingency. You might get one or two big names. So it's never really a race about that, but it's just a race where everyone kind of gets together at the end of the year. It's the same time every year. So I think it's gonna be real good this year.
Awesome. We're probably gonna see a lot of I think Camden and then guys are coming.
Yeah, I hope so.
And it's gonna be good. Camden's doing a lot of 10 scale and stuff like that. It's something I forgot to touch on that I wanted to touch on. Like S-Works is really, so now we're starting to see. So I know I wanted to conclude this, but I wanted to talk about this. In America, we're always seeing that TLR AE dominance. You go to any track, that's where they are now. Obviously, Schumacher with Cavallari and Brock, X-Ray with the young kid Chase, and a few. They had the kid Mechanic and wow. I mean, I don't know how long Testman's going to be there. For the rumors are that he's not going to be there much longer, but I'm sure they'll find somebody to replace Testman there in America. And now S-Works is feverishly out there developing their 10 scale program to adapt to dirt and all that type of stuff. So we're starting to see a lot more brands coming into the 10 scale market in America, which I think is only gonna be good. It's gonna be good for you guys at BRC as distributors and whatnot.
Yeah, we're selling a lot of S-Works stuff. I don't know how many drivers are on S-Works right now, but it seems to be a good business. We're moving a lot of product, a lot of kits. The cool thing with S-Works is they have everything. They got e-truggy, nitro truggy, e-buggy, nitro buggy, all the 10 scale cars, 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, carpet and dirt 10 scale cars. They got on-road cars. They basically cover everything. So it's a lot easier to sell a product when they cover the whole aspect of RC. They even have a ready to run car that's really cool looking. So it's good product. I think it just needed a good push in America. I think Brent's doing a good job getting.
I would agree
on the team. Him and Tim Lime. It's a good vehicle. It's just it's a matter of time before people start really putting in top results.
Yeah, I was talking to Bornhorst about it, and this is just grinding it out. He says, I'm going to be doing a lot of 10 scale. And Camden is too. So good to see, man. Good to see. I enjoyed my Masters of Dirt. I enjoyed, thank you to everybody that showed me some love there. I greatly appreciate it. I try to give stickers to everybody I saw. I was just handing out stickers. Take stickers. That's the one little thing I can do is give you guys some stickers. I met some new people. It was great, man. I enjoyed it. It was, not as laid back. It wasn't as laid back. It wasn't as noisy. It was definitely laid back. It wasn't as noisy as 8 scale racing. It was good. But in the end, I was still in my own little world once I got in front of their screens. So if I didn't come up and meet you or you didn't see me at Masters, I do apologize. I was kind of there once I got working or once I got talking. That's it. I kind of go in the zone. But I do appreciate being able to go there. Thank you to Brent for getting me there. I appreciate that. And it was good to see you. Good to see Derek and the guys again. And good to go around. And man, I did a little video of BRC stuff. Man, you guys have got some stuff in there. Jesus.
Oh, man. You should see the stuff we have backstocked. I mean, it's just ridiculous. You only see a fraction of the stuff on the floor.
Dude, I didn't even look at the race stuff. I look at all the RTR stuff, the boats, the
where
armor
it's at.
stuff.
For the
I
sales
don't even
floor,
worry about the race stuff.
RTR, yep. Our race
Oh
stuff
my
barely
gosh.
is even exposed. You know, we usually put it up high, or race stuff is takes a back seat when it comes to hobby shops. Hobby shops all about RTR, your casual consumer. That's just what RC. That's your main clients.
Yeah, man, awesome. And before I leave, I just want to say congratulations to Mason Templeman, Master of Stock 2023. Congratulations to Dakota Fenn, 3-time Master of Mod. Congratulations to everybody that podium and made this race. I hope you guys come next year, and I look forward to seeing you at the next one. Yeah. Lucas, you got anything to say before we leave here? Did you want to? No more sweeping the leg for next year?
No, I'm glad people came and participated. I hope you all come back next year. I hope no one was too butthurt about the track being difficult. But if you were, I'll make it a little better next time. How about that?
There you go. Well, Lucas, thank you for all that you do. Thank you for your time, and enjoy the rest of your day off, man.
All right, man. Appreciate it, Lefty.
All right, buddy.
All right.
Thank you, Lucas, for your time. I greatly appreciate it. It's always a good chat with you. Thank you for all your hard work leading up to the Masters and providing that gnarly track. Sweeping the leg, John Kreese Cobra Kai, 1984. I can't remember what year. Karate Kid. I think it's 84. Someone would fact check me on that. But that's exactly what he looked like. John Kreese out there. Sweeping the leg. Thank you to everybody that showed me some love at this race. I greatly appreciate it. If you didn't get some stickers, I'll have some more at the next following races. And yeah, it was a blast. I love this race. I enjoyed myself. I had fun. I enjoyed talking about it. And I look forward to going to Florida Copper Championship for my second 10 scale race that I enjoy going to. So with that said, I'm going to let you guys go. Like I said, I am dropping 2 more podcasts this week. One will be a live. I believe Clayton and I are doing, Clayton Young, Raw President. We're doing a live Wednesday. We're definitely going to touch on what's happening with the Trinity slot machines and some other things with IFMAR. So with that said, I'm going to let you guys go. And I want to say thank you to all of the NNRC squad around the world. Obviously, we can't do this without you guys. I appreciate all the support for the last 5 years that you guys have given me. And we just can't do it without you guys. Thank you to the patrons of the NNRC and the NNRC Patreon, as well as the YouTube membership. If you wish to support the podcast a little bit further, you can. Links for that are in the written description of this podcast. Also, thank you to these awesome companies for all their support. If you want to help out the podcast a little bit too as well and save some money or just help us out, you can find links for all of these companies in the written description of this podcast. There are some coupon codes. There are some affiliate links. Some are just links to the companies. Just say in the notes, hey, I heard about you in the No Name RC podcast. They are Invisible Speed, High Tech RC, Sun Pedal USA, Sidewinder Fuel, Hot Race Tires, Mayako, Beach RC, Team Techno RC, Clinic RC, Ignite Design RC, Stacked RC, Donovan RC, RaceCraft USA. Shout out to the Florida RC Championships, WRCE, SJ Racing, House of RC, RCGP, RC Body Armor, and Off-Road RC Racer. And to our drivers, David Ronafalk, Jared Tebow, Robert Betty, Alexander Hagberg, and the Screamless Wonder, Maddie Gonzalez. Nitro's the glory. E-Buggy pays the bills, but 10 scale builds the skills. Lefty is out. Have a good day, everybody. Have a good Monday. I will talk to you later on this week. We are out of here as soon as I find his outro. I never find his outro. I found it just now.